be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la. After 2 days in the desert sun, my skin began to turn red. After 3 days in the desert fun, I was looking at a riverbed, and the story it told of a river that flowed made me sad to think it was dead. You see, I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can't remember your name, 'cause there ain't no one for to give you no pain. La 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 la.
So I need to go to the other side of that airport, and I have about maybe 3.5 hours to walk somehow without these private roads. So here's the situation. I bought something at the airport to make sure my card worked, and it did. And then I got a taxi to La Montana Roja, which is what I'm on right now. And I got here and we sat in the car for 10 minutes because my card didn't work or his card reader didn't work or something. And then he just got fed up and just told me to go, and I didn't pay. And I tried all my cards and everything, so that was really annoying. But first I had to take a taxi in the first place because Google Maps was trying to send me on a private airport road to cut off like a whole hour-and-a-half corner, and this guard at the gate was like, "Oh, you can't go." So I had to take this taxi, and yeah, so now I have to either hitchhike back or spend the rest of my day walking, possibly along the sides freeways, or find some hopefully English-speaking tourist with a rental car and get a ride back to the airport then. But we will see. It looks like there's a lot of private roads it wants me to go on, and it looks like there's no sidewalks. It's not a very walking friendly country, which is why they push so much of the rental cars here in the Canary Islands. So I gotta run for a couple hours now. Walking around here reminds me of Utah with all of these shrubs and red rock. I mean, this is obviously volcanic, but it's not the prettiest. There's an ocean, but the sand looks like dirt because it's like this brown color, and the waves aren't that big. Yeah, not as pretty as those pictures. So I had to scratch like half of my schedule. This was the one hike I really wanted to do, so I still got to do that. But I didn't get a walk along the beach on the supposed beach trails that are just south from here. But when I looked, it looked like there was a bunch of buildings that were being built like right on the ocean, right where those trails would have been. So that would have been a whole nother mess. So now I gotta see if there's anyone getting a ride in the parking lot, or I just gotta start walking. It says it's 72 out here, but it feels like it's 80, 85 with all this heat reflection from the ground, and just being in cold England, this is a huge temperature increase. The 2-hour, 22-minute walk begins. I'll probably try to hitchhike on the way. We will see. But you can see Ryanair taking off right there. But I walk around the whole thing. I think this is gonna be the first time I get sunburnt while abroad. You can see these cool little canyons. It's a lot like Utah. They have these huge greenhouse things over here. Just like the whole roof makes it look like it's ground, but there's a bunch of plants under it. Probably because it's so dry. I'm gonna have to go somewhere off to the right, go around all those mountains, and get into the airport. I successfully hitchhiked to way up the road, probably like 2 miles, across the freeway. Now I'm at a bus station, and there's a bunch of tourists here. So I made it back to the airport, and that guy that picked me up, he was super nice. He was like working in the family cleaning business, and he dropped me off at the bus station, so I made it back. My credit card worked there, but not with the taxi, so yeah. Back about an hour and a half earlier than I wanted to be, but with all the Google Maps private roads it wanted me to be walking, I couldn't really do anything besides that hike. So a little hard to day trip if you don't rent a car. Well, it's 6:37 on Sunday, and I need to walk home and get to bed.